Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. It's time for another breakfast with Blaha, and today I'm having, you guys might have figured out I found 3 of these in one sitting. It's the same thing I have. You have the same lines. Lean ground beef, steamed vegetables, guacamole. Cutting, a lot of food volume, a lot of protein. So, talk about TRT. This is one of the things that it's frustrating when you're in the industry because quote unquote YouTube TRT is not TRT. So people are confusing HRT type TRT, which is what all TRT is, with wink wink I'm on TRT. Okay? Because a lot of people who do it online, that is their way of saying, they're blasting maybe a metric fuck ton of gear, but they don't want to admit to breaking the law. So if they say TRT, they're implying they have a prescription, right? They're not admitting to criminal activity, but they're not using TRT. You guys start saying, 300, 500, that's not TRT. There is no scenario in which that's TRT. It's not. It's super physiological. And then even when you bring that up, you then get idiots on the other extreme who come in and say, well, even 100 milligrams is more than the human body produces. And it's like, okay, you dumb fuck. Sorry, I'm going to rant here. All right, you stupid fuck. 100 milligrams of injectable testosterone is not 100 milligrams of testosterone going into your body. Your math is wrong. They pull this. Well, the human body might only produce 7 milligrams a day. They're taking 100 a week. Yes, of actual testosterone. This is an ester weight. Not all the milligram is testosterone. It's got an ester stuck on it. It's a time release so that it's not released instantly. Do some basic research before you guys chime in. Please, do research. Also, levels vary from person to person, different people's blood levels. Okay, this is going to be the big one. This is why it doesn't matter what someone's TRT dose. When people always ask, what's your TRT dose? Well, if it's TRT, why does it matter? Because my doses wouldn't be your dose. By the way, I don't admit to anything. So people who ask this stuff, I'll give you my official stance. I do not claim whether I'm on TRT, whether I'm natural, whether I use 5 grams a week. Okay? I don't say anything. I leave it alone. Nobody's business. I don't claim natural, so no one can say, well, I think you're a fake. Well, no, I'm not a fake because I don't claim natural. But I also don't claim to be using a bunch of gear. I also don't claim to just be on TRT or not on TRT. I don't make any of those claims. Not where I'm at. So it's not important for this channel. It's not important for the information I put out. I coach all 3 types, by the way. I coach drug-free lifters who compete. I coach guys who are on TRT, and I coach guys who blast gear. I coach all 3 types. I get results in all 3 types. Okay. So, the point is, different medications affect people a different way. If you guys notice that when you go on a medication, a long-term medication from your doctor, what happens? They do blood work. Why? Because 10 milligrams of a drug for one person is going to give a certain blood serum level. Another person might need 20, another person might need 50 milligrams to get that same blood serum level. They have to give you a dose that puts you at that blood level. Now, testosterone isn't that extreme. Nobody's going to need 5 times as much as someone else to see that doesn't happen. But it can vary 50%. Okay? So what one person's dose is, why does it matter? Your only question would be, are they in the normal range? And if they're in the normal range, it's irrelevant what their dose is. And the people say, well, the higher versus lower end. Do you think it matters that much? And I mean that as a serious question. For muscle growth, Do you really think it matters? The research says it doesn't. So why do you think it does? Like, people will say, well, I believe. Well, did you not read Dr. Krager's data on all this that he put out, his long, serious analysis of it? Do you think that his opinion is probably worth more than yours? I think it is. I think it's worth a lot more than yours. Because you know a guy who knows a guy who was on TRT and gained 20 pounds of muscle from it. He wasn't on TRT. I promise you that. Okay. What are people getting from having a low testosterone? Let's say that you are clinically low. Right, you're clinically low. Low enough to qualify for TRT. And your doctor prescribes you enough to take you up to the top 5% of the population. Like a healthy 18-year-olds. It takes you way up there. You have any idea what the muscle gain difference is? It's about 3 or 4 pounds. And this is if you look at it at Krager's data. Now, people say, well, 3 or 4 pounds of muscle is a lot. You're gaining that every year. You're not gaining it every year. You gain it once. You gain that muscle over the course of about 6 months, maybe a year, that 3 to 4 pounds, and then the TRT stops adding anything. Okay? And if you come off the TRT, you'll slowly lose that 3 or 4 pounds of extra muscle that it gave you. You see the issue here? This is what you people are arguing about. Of clinically low versus a doctor giving a very heavy dose that puts you way up at the high end, normal range. You're talking about 3 or 4 pounds of muscle over the course of a lifetime. That's it. That's not a lot. That's not a lot, guys. It's not enough that people need to seriously make that big of a deal about it. And this always seems to upset people, but I always say, I define TRT as basically natty. Real TRT. Why? Because it's a medication being given for your health that isn't causing significant muscle growth. Okay? Not causing significant muscle growth. Put it this way. There are bodybuilders who have 80 to 100 pounds of muscle above their drug-free limit. There's your context. There's your comparison. The other extreme. 80 to 100 pounds. Not 3 pounds, not 2 pounds. It's a medication being given for people's health. And it makes them healthier and helps them live longer and have a higher quality of life. Well, okay, it isn't technically natural, but then again, neither is what I'm eating. Blending up guacamole is not natural. Lifting weights on a structured program with a bunch of steel bars is not natural in the purest sense. But if we're talking about getting a major advantage over the average person, okay, that's your comparison. You're getting an advantage over the average person from a drug. No, you're only getting advantage over a deficiency and an unhealthy situation with a medication. It's still not giving you advantage over a healthy person who's 25. There's zero advantage over that. It just doesn't happen. So it really is a nonsense question. It really is, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.